What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Thursday, February 10th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 7-game slate here tonight. And we've been doing okay. We've given some picks that are just hitting value, but I want to get you guys some guys that are going to crush value. And I think I got some good picks for you here tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So at the point guard position, here's a great value play with James Harden out. Take a look at David Duke Jr. from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Washington Wizards, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing point guards. David Duke Jr. scored 28 fantasy points in 28 minutes last game. And yes, James Harden is going to be out again here tonight, so he's going to get the opportunity. He's projected at 19.9 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.8 times value. He's only $3,400 DraftKings salary. Now he is $1,800 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. I think David Duke Jr. is a lock for me on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 219.5 points scored in this game, so I like David Duke Jr. here versus the Washington Wizards. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards. Devin Booker has averaged 41.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He's projected at 43.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's $8,900 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 232 points scored in this game. So it's a great game to stack. And Devin Booker has scored 48, 55, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, and 29 minutes. He's also got a decent track record here versus the Bucks. Basically 3 out of his last 5 games versus the Bucks, he would have hit or exceeded value. So he scored 27, 56, 46, 21, and 48 fantasy points versus the Bucks in his last 5 games. So yeah, 3 out of those 5s, he would have got you over 5 times value. So I like Devin Booker here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. Now, I think this guy's just a safe play because of the minutes that he's playing. I think he can hit at least 5 times value, and if not more. So I like Dorian Finney-Smith from the Dallas Mavericks playing the LA Clippers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing small forwards. Dorian Finney-Smith has averaged 22.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. He's projected at 25.1 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5 times value. He's $5,000 DraftKings salary, $300 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 216 points scored in this game, and Dorian Finney-Smith has scored 28, 24, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 41, and 39 minutes. So nothing super sexy in terms of his fantasy point production the last 3 games, but he's playing a ton of minutes, and I like that he scored 31, 14, 35, 30, and 29 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Clippers. So he would have crushed value 4 out of those 5 games. So I like my chances here, and I think worst case scenario, he's going to get you 5 times value or close to it. So I like Dorian Finney-Smith here versus the LA Clippers. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Robert Covington from the LA Clippers playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing power forwards. Robert Covington has averaged 22.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 13% usage rate. He's projected at 23.6 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 25 fantasy points or more and get you 5 times value or more. He's 5,000 DraftKings salary. Although he is 1,300 more on FanDuel, this would be a DraftKings play for me only. He's kind of like a Dorian Finney-Smith, same price on DraftKings, and he's playing a ton of minutes. Man, I think he can hit value or exceed value here. He's got that 30-plus fantasy point upside. Vegas thinks there's going to be 216 points scored in this game, and he scored 23, 26, and 31 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Mavericks. So I think he's a pretty safe play at 5,000 DraftKings salary. So I like Robert Covington here versus the Dallas Mavericks.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, now if you want to save a little bit of salary, and this guy might even look a little bit better than Robert Covington, especially on DraftKings, take a look at Jay Crowder from the Phoenix Suns playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jay Crowder has averaged 21.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. He's projected at 22.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 4,400 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel, and we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 232 points scored in this game, so a good way to get some low salary exposure to this high scoring game. Jay Crowder has scored 30, 35, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 34, and 24 minutes. He's also got a fantastic player versus team history here. He scored 43, 26, 42, 32, and 33 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Bucks. So I like Jay Crowder as a value play, especially on DraftKings here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, moving on to the center position. Okay, I have Robert Covington here. He's power forward and center eligible. So we've given you some pretty decent value plays here and some good places where you can save some salary. So we do have Giannis Antetokounmpo on this slate for 12,000 DraftKings salary, 500 less on FanDuel. You never know what you're going to get with this guy, but he has been performing the last 3 games, scoring 82, 56, and 53 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 30, and 24 minutes. Now, I'm a little bit cautious coming off of an 82 fantasy point game. Oftentimes, more often than not, it is a letdown game after that big performance. So, as much as I do like Giannis here in a high-scoring game, I'm not going all in on Giannis. I'm also going to take a look at a guy like Christian Wood from the Houston Rockets playing the Toronto Raptors, who have a good defense overall, but they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Christian Wood has averaged 37.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 39.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 8,000 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 226.5 points scored in this game, and Christian Wood has scored 36, 39, and 33 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 32, 35, and 30 minutes. Now, he hasn't played well versus the Raptors, only 27 fantasy points in his last game versus the Raptors, but I do like this matchup, and I think that he can score 40 fantasy points or more here tonight, so I like Christian Wood here versus the Toronto Raptors.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.